Hello, my name is Jaki McCarrick. I'm going to read a short story tonight called The Badminton Court. This story appears in the new edition of the Women Writers Handbook published by Aurora Metro and was also in my debut collection of short stories, The Scattering. The Badminton Court. The window of my room faces a tall hedge and an ancient oak, home to a kestrel and her 2 chicks. Beyond redwood are hills, the edge of a winding silver lake. As I observe its gleam curl around the estate, I know instantly that I do not have to cross the lake to find what I need, that happiness is a small question, easily answered. Summer, the smell of cut grass, the faint odour of plimsolls, throughout the house the unmistakable bouquet of hemp. 14 acres of manicured gardens and lawns, the sky an azure spell, clouds that are bird-shaped, an eagle, doves, buzzards. There is a palpable sense of waiting on the badminton court below, a silence soon to be punctured by bat-wax, whistling shuttlecocks, and the swish of serge skirts. I look down at the court, the sun scalding the lawn, the bullfinches gathering in the gods of the low, long hedge to watch the morning game. I know I'll be here for a while. Then music, sand-song, Joy Division. I know what she wants. I hear the front door slam. I go to the games room and change into the maroon-coloured gown. I'm here to play. I am here to help her forget. I am here to help her die. This is Redwood House, Suffolk, Constable Country. Miranda is 17. She is thin, with shorn blonde hair, and is altogether the most disarmingly honest person I have ever met. Reveals to everyone precisely what her illness is, gives them diagnosis and prognosis. Brain tumour, malignant, grade 4, 3 to 6 months. I am used to a more guarded, though perhaps duplicit is a better word, environment. My father's cagey manoeuvres, his dubious schemes, his admired business acumen. My presence is itself the settlement of his debts to Miranda's father. Apart from Frances and me, she is alone at Redwood. Her father is off on some protracted business trip. Her mother, never discussed, is, I think, barely known to her. The herbal preparations, the meals, the thrice-weekly trips to the clinic are left to Frances. Further to the south of Redwood there is another property with a small boathouse, South Lodge. Lavender hedgerows, saxifrage-covered rocks, an assortment of mangy cats and kittens. This is Inshaw's place. From this land he watches us. When we play, he pretends he is out gathering mushrooms or repairing the corrugated roof of the boathouse. Sometimes I see his dark, deliquescent eyes follow the shuttlecock back and forth over the net. He is a presence in the game, triangulates it. She tells me to ignore him. I have become, within weeks, father and mother to her, father, mother, and more. Dinner. Frances has prepared salmon and marinated tuna, and Miranda wants to teach me how to use chopsticks. As I practice the pincer-like movement, I notice how she rests one of the sticks against her fat bottom lip. I am jealous of it, nestled in that soft place. She rises, comes towards me. The sick smell of her as she bends over my shoulder. Death is in her breath. I have forgotten she is so ill. It is easy to do, that lightness of spirit, precision of play. She drops her head on my hair. Your beautiful hair, she says, your long, dark, beautiful hair. I am aware of her bones against my own tumescence and curves. She comes away, stands before me, androgynous and stark, and for a moment it seems as if each of us has been called up from the depths of the other's consciousness. We go on like this. The days are endless, summer does not turn. Only I notice the chicks are bigger in the oak, and that Inshaw has finally repaired his roof and is sailing his boat, or I would hardly register the passing of time at all. I bump into Inshaw in the village. I am surprised, nice man, shy. We discuss Miranda, poor Miranda. It isn't fair, it isn't right. He says he will look out for her when I leave at the end of September. I realise I do not want to leave, not ever. I think of my first night and the thoughts I'd had of escape, of secret, instant escape onto the tall hedge. I consider how fortunate it was I did not give in to those thoughts. The encounter with Inshaw has startled me, the sudden reality of the situation, a splint of cold glass in my skull. She says little at breakfast. The evening before she had been on fire, rapid, erratic thoughts, unfinished sentences, sentences that unravelled, ending in lacunae, gibberish. She had been rude, her inhibitors obstructed by that thing growing, multiplying inside her. Tumour talk, Frances calls it. She has some toast, a thimble of marmalade, tea. I know she wants a game, because she is dressed in the maroon gown. Worn when badminton was played as formally as tennis or cricket, the serge gowns are almost 100 years old. They belonged to her grandmother. Miranda had found them soot-soaked in the cellar, later began to wear one as protection from the sun. Long-sleeved, cuffed, mandarin-collared, they are oriental in design. Frances says they make us seem like twins. Miranda leaves the house and I go to the games room to change. She has left a sprig of something, eglantine, by my washed and ironed gown on the bench. The sight of it horrifies me. Our last game. Her play is at half speed, her coordination off. She is all over the place, drops the shuttlecock. It is tragic to watch. She observes the weakness in her own swing, summons all her strength, and it is poor. Flails about with the racket, pretends there is something wrong with it, but her racket is fine. Essays an awkward thrust and teeters. She is being milked by that thing. It is unspeakable. Eventually she gets a whack. The shuttlecock is not so much launched as massaged by the catgut. She continues, laughs it off, but she cannot get the shuttlecock to cross the net. The sky is a bowl of darkest mussel blue. Then rain. She runs inside. I hear music, Joy Division, Dead Souls. The curtains are drawn. I smell burning herbs, cannabis. She is in pain. I know what I must do. I walk to Inshaw's. He offers to sail the boat for me, but I assure him I am a seasoned navigator. It is untrue. My upbringing proves fruitful for something. Inshaw lends me his boat for the day. Miranda and I sail on the silver lake. The day turns bright and humid. A heron wades through the dark green mud of the bank. Water lilies spin with the current. The motor is off, and I oar through syrupy, calm conditions till we come to the bend, continuing through a wider, willow-lined stretch still on the estate. Here the wildflowers are in bloom, the eglantine, meadowsweet, great burnet. Low clouds of red admirals skim the water alongside the boat, their fat, gravid centres like wet fur. In fields I see bales of hay, barley being harvested. Her face has tilted to one side. Her freckled, yellowing face is beginning to develop a pronounced drop, with drooped jowls, and she drools when she speaks. In her eyes some recognition of what is happening to her. I will always be convinced by that look. I try to tip the boat. It is a struggle. The boat shudders, takes a while to capsize. She screams, splashes about. I swim towards her, hold her, our bodies small and snug in the water. My plan is to swim back once she has gone under, but I can't leave. She clings to me, accepting and placid. 24 hours later, I wash up against a bank. I am alive, and later wake up in hospital. Miranda floats to an island in the river, into a swan's nest. She's so white, 2 diving teams fail to spot her, wound around the reeds and tall red crocus. 22 summers pass. The world is a changed place. Redwood belongs now to Inshaw. He grants me a walk through the estate whenever I come here. Around the mile or so of angular hedges, the ancient oak and badminton court, where sometimes I think I hear the wind fluting through plastic. Once he asked if I was happy. Before I had the chance to reply, he said his own life had been good and prosperous. but hardly happy. Mine was the same, I said. What is happiness? He asked, as if I knew any better than he. I pondered on this. For me, I said, happiness is two girls playing badminton under an azure sky with clouds that are bird-shaped. Those summers were best, he replied, when I used to watch you play. It occurred to me then that for nearly a quarter of a century we had both been sustained by a few intoxicating memories squirreled from our youth. I told him it was high time we lived a little. He agreed and told me then of his plans to flatten the court. I remember that as I walked towards my car, parked beside the Silver Lake, I had the distinct and certain feeling I was being watched. Thank you.